What's up guys, this is Foedin or FoTK, and this is going to be a follow-off tutorial from the Understanding Camera Angles, this one's going to be sort of realistic cameras, so I'm going to show you a few things, and I have actually made a list. Let me just close that down. And we're going to sort of work through these four, and I'm going to sort of show you how to create realistic cameras in Cinema 4D. So, as we can see here, we've got just a static pose of a soldier. This was a edit that I was going to do, but I sort of stopped. It's my own edit, so it's, you know, no big deal. Just something to do to pass the time. So anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to put a first-person camera on, just in case you wanted to animate it. First thing I'll do is I'll just set a camera, make sure I'm not inside of it, so make sure that little box is black. Zoom out, and then you can actually see, you know, the viewport of the camera. And what I do now is I just move that into the position of the head, or, well, basically the position of the eyes, because, you know, from where your eyes see is where the camera will see. So it'll make sense to put your camera where the eyes are. So just rotating the camera to about there. So I moved the camera, and now I'm going to rotate the camera so it's facing me, and I'll rotate it so the green axis is along with his eyes. That way the rotation should be pretty much all good. And I can maybe move it back a bit. And there we go. You can select it on and off, and you have your first person animation. So, you know, obviously that's done really roughly because the model isn't fit well to the screen. So what I would do is, first of all, once I've rigged the character and he's in a T-pose, I would, actually I'll show you actually, if I just remove the actual skeleton and all that stuff, and pop him straight, and pop this one straight. There we go. So what I'll do is, I'll delete his camera. What I'll do is I'll position the camera sort of in front of his eyes already, to about there, really roughly. Select the camera, zoom out, so it's kind of already in position anyway. And then I'll come to rotation, and basically what you want to do is you want to round it up to either 90, 180, 270 or 360. 360 or 0, it doesn't really matter, it's the same thing. Because once you go to 360 it goes back to 0, 90 and so on. Unless you want to go further, but we don't need to just for camera angles. So just to make sure this is all aligned up and straight, the nearest one to this one is 180. So we want to keep it minus 180 and snap that one. And this one's obviously 0, so select that to 0. So then that is a straight, you know, camera on the X, Y, and Z axis. I can even come into top view, and you can see the axes are perfectly aligned. And the reason you want to do this is because the T-pose is pretty much in proportion as well. So once we get that, and we put the camera on the eyes, and then just center that, we have our first person view. And then what you can do is you can animate your character to fit your first person viewport. And what I usually do is I go into the, well, when I had a skeleton, you'll have your skeleton, you'll have all your bones. If you go to the head bones, and just drag and drop your camera into the head bone. Not the mesh, the head bone. And then wherever the head bone moves, your camera should follow, because you're making this camera a child of the head bone. So the parent, which is the head bone, controls the child, if that makes sense. It's just basically like a family. You know, children can run around and do whatever they want to do, but overall it's the parent that has control. So the parent can say, you know, don't do this, but the child can still choose to say no, if that makes sense. So, so yeah, that's first person cameras sorted. A shake camera. Alright, let's do that one. Let's delete this and create another one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a straight basic orbit around the character. There we go. So, and I'll set that to linear actually. So click on the keyframe and go to linear, and that means it's a constant movement. It doesn't start off slowly and then come onto it and then slow down again. If I go to the graph, I can't remember how to go to the bloody graph. It's animation, isn't it? Oops, not that one. Animation, the camera, and there should be a keyframe on it. Oh, at 200. I can't bloody remember. Oh, there it is. So here we go. Here's our keyframe. And I used to be able to do a graph mode, which I can't remember. Maybe you have to select them. Nope. Nope. Oh, well, maybe I need to practice that a bit more, because I'm not entirely sure. So I'm not going to waste time doing that shit. Come up to standard. Basically, so as soon as that keyframe hits, it's just a constant movement until it finishes. So now we've got a little camera. What I want to do is add a little shake on it. And if you come up to the camera in the object manager, right click it and go to Cinema 4D tags and go to vibrate. And this is the tool that will allow you to rotate, scale, or position. So if I want it to shake, it's just the position of the camera. And I'm actually going to come out just so I can show you. We just want our camera to shake. So it's not the rotation. We've got our rotation sorted because we've got our orbit. So we just want the position just to shake on the spot. So you can click that. And it depends the amplitude. So if I want it to move 100 centimeters in all directions, I can do that. And as you can, it is a lot. I usually go for about 5. So that's moving, so you can't really see what's happening. If I go to 5, maybe 2 or 3 actually, you can't really see what's going on there. If I whack it down to 2 and then do the frequency to 20, just so you can see, or if I play it, you'll see. Do you see that little shake on there? So the frequency is the speed of the shake, and then the amplitude is the distance that it shakes. So you can just have a little play around with that. You can do a rotation if you want. I'd usually keep the angles really, really low to about 3. And again, frequency, I'll say 10. There you go. So if you want like I don't know, set the scene, a car chase, you know, and there's a camera going by, you want something similar to this. You know, it just saves doing it in After Effects and you lose the edges and whatnot. Keep your resolution. So if you could do it all in the animation program, then that's brilliant. So that's that one sorted. Non-static cameras, so like I said, you know, the orbit, and all that stuff. Usually, if we're talking just about film here, if you see a guy walking towards you, you'd have something like a static camera like that. But to make it a little bit more professional, what you can do is just hit keyframe, move forward, and just make it slide to the left or the right. Only gently though. Do that, and then linear. These slight little movements will make your piece look a little bit more professional because, you know, it's all static looks a bit boring. You need movement to sort of tell the story. So when a guy's walking towards you and that camera's moving really, really slow, enough for you to notice, but not enough for you to go, oh, that's moving. You know, you should be able to look at it and not realise the camera's moving. But it actually is. And that's a nice effect that you want. I use that a lot, actually. And I like the effect, so it's up to you what you want to do. But that's just a little trick that I'll show you. Stuck cameras. So if you want it stuck onto the head. So if I want a camera, say, here, and I want it to move, like say this guy's running, but I want this camera to stay here with the guy. So what you want to do is grab that, and then where you have your skeleton, you drag it into the root. No, that won't work. No, because the root has animation, so your camera will be shaking. Alright, what you can do is you can group it, like I have here. Imagine this is all have skeleton before this and whatnot. You group your overall mesh, and you drag the camera into the mesh. So hopefully, wherever that moves, your camera moves with it. Do you see what I've done there? So that's a nice little effect. And you can also, like I said, the parent can control the overall thing, but the children can still move freely. So that's nice. And then the last one, oh no, I've done that one, sorry. Yeah, the last bit I'm going to show you, which is quite nice, is the different camera settings. So obviously you've got all these here. I like to play around with the focal length. Sometimes I put it to super wide, which is 15mm. And as you can see, nice effect. And I like doing close-ups on this. Something like that. I like the close-ups on a super wide lens. You know, and so say I was looking down at my arm. Oops, where am I? There we go. You know, it really puffs out your body as opposed to just having a normal static camera, which as a classic 36mm, sorry. You just play around with them. Go to Super Tele, which is, bear with, really close. Yeah, this is where it gets really tricky. I'll create a new camera. And I'll do it again. Oops. Super Tele. So you can see this is like a close-up angle. But then, like I said, I like to do that one wide. Just have a little play around with it. See what you find looks best for your animation. You know, I like doing this for, if you're looking for like a sniper scope, you know, I want to use, well, I would use this effect. You know, so then you can grab your camera and you can go, oh, look around the whole scene. Because everything is sort of in the distance by this camera. And that's the sort of effect you want. They might even be close in the Cinema 4D project. I mean, look how close the camera is to the guy. That's not close, but look how close it looks, but it's actually not. So that's a sort of nice effect, and I like it. So you can have a little play around with those, and then obviously all the others. Whitebalance Daylight, K is measured in Kelvin. That's basically 3000. I think, if I'm right, is a more 3000 is a more bluey colour. Yeah, bluey colour. And a 6500 Daylight is more orangey. So what you do is, if you was going to film an interview, you'd do an indoor setting, which is 3000. But then you'd have lighting as well. So where you have your orange lights, it'll balance it out. And then obviously, if you're outside filming, you'll go for where have we gone? Here. To something like a 6500 Kelvin. And that's sort of how you can work your camera as well. It's just like basically having a real life DSLR, Panasonic, Canon, camera. These are the settings that you would sort of put in. The only thing you haven't got is like shutter speed, I don't think. Oh, you do have a shutter speed, so you can set all these. I haven't really looked much, depth of field. So all this could be useful for your animations because it's the camera that sort of does the job. Most of the job. So there we go, guys. Please like and comment. Have a little play around. Research a bit more into it. And see what you come up with. Please like and comment, and I'll see you next video. Peace.